Hi, sewing friends. This is Holly from Happy Quilty People. I want to introduce you to a wonderful product that I found last year at market. This is Ten Sisters Handicraft Easy Piecing Grid. Carmen Geddes invented this product, created the company, and these are examples of things you can make with her Fusible Easy Piecing Grid. The Fusible is printed and numbered squares. You can see all the things in this booth that you could potentially create. She's got videos and patterns on her website. Some of them are free. Many of them are downloadable. She also has books. I'll put some links for some of those things in the description. You can see that you can make some amazing quilts, some very vintage looking quilts. There's some of her books. Love that quilt. It seems very vintage to me. I'm not being reimbursed in any way by Ten Sisters. I just love their product so much. I just thought it was a great thing and I wanted to use it and wanted to tell you about it. That is a Tilda pattern over in the top left. She's got some seasonal patterns as well. You can buy it by the bolt or in smaller grid pieces. And here we are in the class. I got to take the class for this grid. The class is called Jelly Roll Magic. There's my setup. Someone else in the class did Halloween colors. Beautiful pastels. Bright colors. You can see the fusible grids that we're working on. And we have paper underneath them because we're using glue sticks in this class because we didn't have room for irons. Look at this organization here. Fabulous. These two were sharing the big box of squares. This reminded me of Ruby Star Society's color palette. I don't know if it was or not. I think it was. So the patterns are numbered and the grids are numbered so you know exactly where you are placing your colors. There's some Tula Pink. More colors on down the row of students in the class at the Houston Quilt Festival in 2025. More bright colors. You can see they've turned their panels sideways. Some of them have so that there's more room to fit on the table. We applied with glue sticks because there weren't enough irons. A lovely gray palette. Again, some beautiful bold. Love those colors. And then down on the end on this last row, someone was even using up their precious Liberty fabrics for this project. You can see an applique mat right there with the purple, I don't know, binding. I think it might be a silicone mat laying there. The applique pressing mats are helpful when you are ironing these. You can see there's someone using a mat over so that the fusible doesn't stick. It is possible to fuse two panels together to get them joined together. Love those dots. More fun colors. And here's mine up on the wall after class. During the class, I was able to do 2 grids. After the first one, it goes really fast once you know what's happening, what the plan is. So I just wanted to zoom in. I used 2 Kaffe Morris jelly rolls. The hot pink that you see is a blender fabric I got at a local quilt shop. And the leopard, the animal stripes, the pink and the cream, that one was a thrifted fabric that I found at a local thrift store. It was a shirt fabric. From back in the room, they agreed that the pinks, the bright pink fabric looked very solid from far away, and it really truly does. Kaffe recolored, is it William Morris? William Morris fabrics in brighter colors. here I am placing my pieces. I'm checking the numbers on my pattern, counting the numbers on my grid. Then to work faster, I would put down several swipes of glue on different squares and then lay in my pieces on the marked grid lines. Even though this is fast forward, it really does go together pretty quickly. Even with talking and chatting at my sewing group this day, and fussy cutting, I wasn't fussy cutting, I was spending time thinking about my layout and what colors I needed to balance between lights and darks. And here I am starting to sew the first panel. It is possible to fuse these panels together, but I was eager to film this for the video. And I'm going to leave my mistakes in here at the beginning so that you can see what I did wrong. As you're setting up your machine, you're going to need to sew 1/4 inch seams. If you have a seam allowance guide, a little magnetic thing you can stick on your machine, that would be helpful for this. I started sewing by folding over. The pieces fold over pretty easily, and then I finger press them just to make sure they were going to fold at the dotted line that's printed on the grid. And then when I started sewing, my machine had been in the shop getting checked over, and I started to sew a zigzag line. So here's my first little false start. I want to keep these kind of mistakes in so that you guys realize that everybody makes mistakes when they sew. Everybody has to start, and no sooner than they've started, get out their seam ripper and rip out those zigzag stitches. You need a straight line stitch. As you're placing the squares on your grid, you'll find that if they get a little bit, if they seem like they're going over the line, something that you can do is just sometimes turning them the other direction helps them lay in place a little bit better. And then even if the edges are right up to the line on both sides, the two squares that you've placed next to each other, as you're folding them over, you can just massage them in place a little bit. And that was the word that Carmen used to describe that. You can just put it in place. So this is actually me picking out my threads, and then I'm going to get going on the sewing eventually. This step really is as easy as fold and sew. I'm sewing the longer, vertical lines on this part. Just finger pressing in between to make sure my folds are nice and neat. And I'm stitching at a 1/4 inch seam. Replacing my bobbin. And now I've finished sewing all of the lines in one direction, all of the gridded lines that are printed on the Fusible. So now I'm going to hold it up, inspect it, see how it looks, and you'll see that I've missed one piece. A little corner wasn't pressed down to the Fusible and it got tucked under, and so it wasn't caught in my seam line. And that was pretty easy to see because the corner that was loose was just flapping a little bit. So there's the little bit that didn't get caught in my seam. It's an easy fix if that happens to you. You're just going to pick out a little bit away from the piece that's not in the seam in either direction. You're going to pick your stitches out. And then after you've picked those stitches out, you can go back in and just simply tuck it in, make sure it's in place. You'll see that I'm really double checking everything once I get it laid down again on my machine. I'll check it, and I was just able to stitch it right back in place. It was a very, very easy fix. So even though it took me a little bit of time to mess with my machine, to fix this mistake that I made, to pick out my zigzag stitches in the beginning, overall, this was a project with a new machine that I was testing out, and the sewing, I don't know, it maybe took me 30 minutes just because I was messing around so much. Again, I'm just laying the pieces super flat here, making sure I get everything tucked back in. You can start to feel with your fingers if the pieces are laying flat. And then I finally worked out that it's better, I don't know that I will do that right here, but it's better when you're just smooth sailing sewing through your project to just guide it from the piece that's in front of you. You're making sure everything's flat and then holding it in close to your torso as you guide the Fusible through your sewing machine. Okay, friends, here it is. I hope that you'll check out tensisters.com to see their downloadable patterns, to see some of the ways that you can purchase Fusible grid, all the way from smaller size pieces for bags, all the way up to a 50-panel bolt of it. It's a product that I enjoy and I think that I will definitely use again because it really is super easy. Again, the class that I took was called Jelly Roll Magic for this fabric pattern, and you can buy that on the website. I'll also leave links in the description to some of the books that she has available and the critical materials that you might need for this course. Thanks, friends. See you later.